It's done! Finally, we turned an embarrassing eyesore into a paradise of dog supplies organization, and I can't wait to share it with you. As you will soon see, our closet started out as a beautiful blank slate, an empty pantry in a new home full of potential, until we moved in. Within a few weeks, this beautiful, promising pantry became a billowing nightmare of random junk utterly unfit for public viewing. The clutter was so overwhelming, we couldn't open the door all the way, forcing us to shimmy in just to store more stuff. It was bad, embarrassingly bad. To make matters worse, 90% of what was stored in this pantry was dog supplies, supplements, leashes, dog shampoo, drool cloths, and 1,000 other necessary items for big dog ownership. Of course, as such, all eyes were on Big Dog Mom to fix this abomination. So I rolled up my sleeves and got to work with a little child labor to lighten the load. Sadly for me, Junior and Sully were no help whatsoever. If you would like to see our newly remodeled DIY pet closet, keep watching. My focus with this pantry was organization for dog supplies, a room dedicated to Big Dog Mom and her plethora of big dog stuff. You will see that I am not a cutesy gal. I don't have pretty baskets or decorative containers, so if you are looking for design ideas, you may need to supplement this with other videos. That said, you will get plenty of dog storage ideas for all the things you inevitably accumulate as a big dog owner. Welcome back, big dog friends. If you are new here, my name is Stephanie, aka Big Dog Mom. And on my channel, I provide information and resources to help you and your big dog live your best life together. In addition to revealing the before and after of our DIY dog storage closet makeover, I want to share 5 super useful tips if you are thinking about tackling a project like this for your home. Okay, let's get started. My first tip, if you are planning on building out a dog supply storage closet in your home, is to allow enough time. This is definitely not something I would take on if you only have a weekend. The paint drying alone will take longer than a weekend for sure. For me, this DIY project took nearly 6 weeks from start to finish. We moved into our new home at the end of March, and as you can see, my dog room started as this beautiful blank slate. As I said earlier, an empty pantry full of potential. The pantry stayed this beautiful for about 3 hours until the movers came and we all started to use this space as the catch-all for every dog item I owned. As it turns out, labeling moving boxes with the words dog stuff had unintended consequences. In addition to dog supplies, we realized we didn't have a space for cleaning supplies either, so all of that stuff got stored in my small dog room as well. Fast forward a few months, and this is what my beautiful and promising dog closet morphed into. A massive embarrassment with a door that couldn't fully open due to all the stuff. Once we decided to get started building out my dog supplies closet, the first task was to empty out the space of all of the junk. Since we can't seem to find any furniture anywhere these days that's in stock, our sunroom is a barren, empty space, as you can see here. So we moved everything from the pantry into this sunroom, and here it sat for over 6 weeks. Okay, tip number 2, know your limits. I am not interested in learning how to build shelves or how to use a saw for that matter. I tell my kids there are just some things our brains just want to block out. Brain gaps that God allowed us to make room for all of the knowledge He wants us to have. So for me, that's learning chess and mastering a table saw. So thankfully, my husband and son rose to the challenge of building my dog storage shelves. With insight from me in terms of the dimensions I needed the space to cover, how high to make each shelf, and the depth of the countertop, my men got to work on the sweaty job of woodworking. As you can see, the shelves fit perfectly in the room and provided more than enough storage space for all of my stuff. Shelving, in my opinion, is essential to organization. The goal is to use your vertical space as much as possible. In other words, get everything up off the ground. Because of this, I had my husband build the shelves to just below the ceiling on both sides of the room to maximize my storage space. After the shelves were built out and installed, the fun but labor-intensive job of filling the holes and sanding and painting began. Which brings me to tip number 3. Use child labor if at all possible. I was so sore from working out that laying on the hard tile floor to fill holes with putty was slow torture. Fortunately, as it turns out, 11-year-old boys love to sneak into small spaces with free rein to spread tan Play-Doh into little holes. So, for several days, he and I worked to fill tiny nail holes with wood putty. As you can see, he and I had slightly different methods of applying the putty, which did result in some work for me on the back end, but he was a huge help nonetheless. Sanding the wood and putty holes took several days as well. I used 220 and 120 grit paper for most of the sanding, the coarse grit for the putty spots and the finer grit for smoothing and finishing the wood. Once we had the holes filled and the wood sanded, I started the arduous process of painting. And with this step, here is tip number 4. Consider using enamel paint. I didn't know this before stopping in the paint store, but enamel paint provides quite a few benefits over average paint you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's. First and foremost, for all you big dog owners, enamel paint will be easier to wipe off should your big dog decide to come in and christen it with drool, which Junior and Sully have done several times. And then secondly, it will resist chipping better, thereby increasing its longevity and durability. Applying this paint was super easy, though it took 2 full coats to completely cover the shelves. Once the paint was completely dry, I had to tape off the shelves and floor and repaint the walls. If your dog's storage room is the same color as your shelves, you obviously won't need to do this step. But because our walls are a light gray color, I had to repaint. As you can see, the finished product, once the tape was removed, turned out beautiful. About a week later, maybe 2 if I'm honest, once I overcame extreme laziness and procrastination at the thought of having to go through everything in our sunroom, I set out to get my dog supplies closet finished once and for all. And with this, I will give you tip number 5. Get help with organization. While I am a pretty organized person, it is not uncommon for me to unpack boxes in a room with a seemingly logical arrangement in my mind, only to completely rearrange it 2 weeks later when I realize how bad my initial organization system was. So, for that reason, after unpacking most of the dog supplies, I enlisted the help of my daughter to help me think through how to organize everything in the most functional way. And for me, when it comes to design, it's always nice to have a second opinion. As you can see, I have separate shelves for different types or categories of items. On the top, the materials for making DIY elbow butter, styptic powder, and other recipes I've developed over the years. Since I don't need access to these regularly, they can sit up high as I need a step stool to get up there. Sitting lower down, I have all the boys' grooming and cleaning supplies, my Dremel with a plug conveniently below for easy charging, and a plethora of medications and supplements I keep on hand. Some of these are given regularly, some are not. And on the bottom countertop are treats, training supplies, poop bags, and a variety of toys and balls that will be featured on this channel very soon. I have some fun ideas for these, so definitely stay tuned. I will tell you, these balls drive Junior and Sully crazy as they have not been allowed to play with them. Talk about slow torture. Underneath my dog supplies shelves, I keep a step stool, my dog travel bag, a microfiber dog mat, and my wheat storage for homemade bread. On the other side are some larger non-dog related items, such as coolers, cleaning supplies, and a few odds and ends like flashlights, duct tape, and matches. In addition, I keep small appliances in here that are used but not needed daily, such as my dehydrator, crock pot, and Instapot. Oh, and while we are on the topic of organization, here's a bonus tip for you. Don't be a hoarder of dog supplies. Don't be a hoarder in general, but for us big dog owners, we can tend to accumulate a lot of stuff in the daily ownership of a big dog. Honestly, when was the last time you used that old medication or your dog played with that ripped up toy? Yes, your dog is adorable when he nurses that toy, but sadly, it represents more of a risk to him than a benefit. As much as you can, purge all unnecessary items. Trust me, you will accumulate more soon enough. If you aren't using it or it doesn't fit, throw it out. My only exception to this rule is for puppy collars and general puppy stuff. You just never know when a puppy might bless the Big Dog Mom household. So, as I unpacked and organized my dog supplies closet, I decided to hold on to puppy supplies that could be reused in the very near future. Other than that, I reduced the amount of dog supplies I had and all that I sadly spent time packing and moving across country from Arizona 11 months ago by about 30%. As you can see, that reduction and the addition of the beautiful shelves made all the difference. The last step in my absolute favorite addition to my dog closet is the barn wood and hooks for the many leashes, collars, and harnesses I have. We have family farmers who were tearing down an old barn, and I was able to snag some barn wood from them. This seemed to me the perfect opportunity to put out a piece of barn wood to add some personality into the space. I fell in love with these puppy butt hooks from IKEA, and I think both in style and function, they are perfect for what I needed. A Big Dog Mom teal blue pop of color and function for some of the most important supplies for any big dog owner. I just love it. Once I added in the boys' dog toy basket, my beautiful DIY dog closet was complete. Okay, time for the question of the day. How do you organize and store all of your dog supplies to prevent them from taking over your home? Share in the comments below. And with that, while Junior and Sully close us out by helping to clean up the mess, we want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Don't forget to turn your notifications on so you don't miss any great big dog content. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in our next video. Bye for now.